Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. It's Saturday night, another 2-hour fun fest into the weird and wild world of the paranormal and supernatural and Fortean extraterrestrial UFO and more. So, hope you're ready to be entertained because, by God, I'm going to do my best to entertain you, but I'm not alone. I'm not going to have to entertain you all by myself because I get to lean on the big branch of my family tree. Of course, my son Sheldon is co-hosting with me tonight. How you doing, Sheldon?
I'm doing amazing. The big branch is feeling big and awesome and glad to be here.
You feeling all branchy, are you?
Yeah, I'm feeling branchy.
Well, very good. And welcome, everybody. I see all the names popping up in the chat. You guys are flying in the door. It's a humbling experience, as always. So thank you so much for being here with us, giving us a portion of your weekend to talk about the strangeness that is the paranormal. Because, my God, what better thing to discuss, right, Sheldon?
What better thing to discuss?
I guess nobody can say it like the branch.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Well, let's get to a quick thank you to our sponsor of the Paranormal Portal, and that, of course, is Cryptid Coin, ladies and gentlemen. It's a newer cryptocurrency that has its heart in cryptid research and investigation, and we are thrilled to have them as a sponsor here on the Paranormal Portal. I know a lot of people are looking for investments outside of the norm because of lots of weirdness in the financial markets. So people are looking towards cryptocurrencies, and so Cryptid Coin may very well be what you're looking for. So if you're interested in Cryptid Coin and you want to learn more, by all means head over to cryptidcoin.io and see what you think. But I'm invested. I think it's a great idea, but as with all things, who knows? And I'm certainly no advisor, but we are absolutely thrilled to have them as a sponsor of the show, and a special thank you to Cryptid Coin for being a part of the Paranormal Portal. So check them out, cryptidcoin.io. Again, cryptidcoin.io. So for more information. All right, Sheldon. I tell you what, I just want to let you know, I want to forewarn you that I've got a bucket full of news just waiting for us. So, did you say something?
Yeah, I said perfect.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just saw your lips move and nothing happened. I was like,
oh,
wait a minute. There's no sound. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Let's get to the news, ladies and gentlemen. So buckle up your seatbelts and get ready to get informed. All right, so I went through a whole bunch of different sound effects.
Nice.
Because those of you on YouTube, of course, you can see the video that was created by Wes Germer to begin our newscasts. And for those of you that are out there listening in TFR, iHeart, tune in and TalkStream Live. If I didn't play sound effects, you'd have dead air until that whole intro ran. So I'm trying to find something to play through the course of that maybe makes sense. But all I got
Did you just keep pressing the cricket button over and over?
No, I didn't hit the cricket button, but I hit the laughter, I hit the cheer, the applause, I hit I don't know, a few of them. But anyway, hopefully that was an entertaining intro for all of you listening only. So welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk, and I have curated several news articles for your viewing and listening entertainment, and hopefully you leave here knowing something you didn't already know, and maybe leave here a little more knowledgeable than when you came, and maybe you'll leave here knowing something you didn't ever want to know. But in any case, I got some pieces of information, and we'll go through those now. How you doing, Bam? Good to see you, and Gemini over in TFR. Great to see you guys. First up on the newscast is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Please check out this site, ladies and gentlemen. They have just a fascinating, profoundly awesome site full of these articles of many different topic areas, not only just the strange, weird, and bizarre, but they have science and astronomy and so much more. that's going on. So I'm sure you'll find something over there on Unexplained-Mysteries that will be what you're looking for. So check him out, unexplained-mysteries.com. But first article from unexplained-mysteries.com is Mystery Surrounds Increase in Length of the Day. Now, my friend and a good friend of the Paranormal Portal, Naysay, has been talking about the lunar calendar a whole bunch for years now. And he's found some discrepancies in the number of days in the lunar calendar versus what used to be, and then the discrepancies between moonrise and moonset, how it fluctuates. It's never quite the same. And anyway, it's very interesting. So when I saw this, I thought of Naysay, and I was like, wonder what's going on here. So I'm going to read you the article, and we'll find out. It says, mystery surrounds increase in the length of a day. The length of one Earth day has been increasing, and nobody seems to know why this should be the case. Atomic clocks combined with precise astronomical measurements have revealed that the length of a day is suddenly getting longer, and scientists don't know why. This has a critical impact not only on our timekeeping, but also on things like GPS and other technologies that govern our modern life. Over the past few decades, Earth's rotation around its axis, which determines how long a day is, has been speeding up. This trend has been making our days shorter. In fact, in June 2022, we set a record for the shortest day over the past half a century or so. But despite this record, since June 2020, that steady speed up has curiously switched to a slowdown. Days are getting longer again, and the reason is so far a mystery. While the clocks in our phones indicate that there are exactly 24 hours in a day, the actual time it takes the Earth to complete a single rotation varies ever so slightly. These changes occur over periods of millions of years to almost instantly. Even earthquakes and storm events can play a role. It turns out a day is very rarely exactly the magic number of 86,400 seconds. And this is going to get a little longer, but it's kind of interesting. Well, I think I'll just leave it there. There's apparently a discrepancy about the length of a day, and there's something going on. I'll put links to this article for anybody interested in learning more about this. And if someone could please let Naysay know, I'd appreciate it, because this is something that I'm sure he would find extraordinarily interesting. But apparently there's discrepancy. And I'm all for longer days, though, because that means more sunshine. And, in the winter, it's such a hard time of year, because like you get up, it's dark, and you get done at like 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. in a work day, and it's dark. And it's like living in a cave for those 6 months. And so I'm all for stretching the days out. I think that's outstanding, because it probably means a little warmer as well. But anyway, there's the link to the article for those of you that are interested in seeing it. If you're listening out on iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, and you just heard me say that, then I would encourage you to go to tfrlive.com/chat or go to youtube.com/paranormalportal. In the chat room there, you will see the link, the article. But if you're just listening to this at another time and you're not seeing a chat, just go to unexplained-mysteries.com and look at the articles there. You'll find this article that we're talking about here, surrounding the mystery of the length of a day. And if we had a longer news segment, I could go into the whole article. But apparently the Earth speeds up and slows down, and they're not sure why. I guess, it's an anomaly. But anyway, let's get to the next article, because I got a ton of them to get through tonight. And the next one up is, it has to do with the UFO phenomena, which is always good here on the Paranormal Portal. And again, from unexplained-mysteries.com, the next article is Moment of Contact documentary to explore Roswell of Brazil. And a new documentary by filmmaker James Fox will explore the circumstances surrounding the incident. So apparently there's a Roswell incident or like incident in Brazil. Following on from his previous documentary, The Phenomena, Fox has now turned his attentions to a little-known incident that occurred in 1996 when residents of Varginha, Brazil, reported sightings of a UFO crash followed by encounters with mysterious alien-like creatures. It will be narrated by Peter Coyote, who starred in Steven Spielberg's E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Moment of Contact is about an exploration of extraterrestrial encounters. This one centered on a series of events in 1996 when citizens of Ningen, Brazil, reported seeing one or more strange creatures and a UFO crash. The synopsis for the official trailer reads, a number of locals, including a group of girls ranging from age of 14 to 21, had a close encounter with a being described as about 4 feet tall, with brown, oily skin and large head with huge red eyes. The town of Ningen was cordoned off by military and emergency response teams, and 2 creatures were captured. Local military policeman Marco Charis died under mysterious circumstances after allegedly handling one of the creatures. And the documentary will be available to watch digitally from October the 18th. So that's pretty interesting.
I like how you read that.
Well, thank you very much. And now a word from our sponsors.
We have a new member that joined, Julie Grind. I might be butchering that.
You might be butchering it. Let's take a look. Oh, is it? I'm looking. It is Julie. I guess it would be Grind or Grindy. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. That's outstanding. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Those of you who are able to be members, thank you so much. It goes a long way in help supporting the shows. But that's an interesting thing, right? I didn't know that this had happened in Brazil. This is one that I never heard of. So I'll be very interested in watching this. There's a trailer. We're not going to air it now because I'll guarantee it has music on it. And if I play it on my show, I'm gonna get done with the show and do a nice notice from YouTube of a copyright violation. I've gotten a few of those over the years, so I'm pretty good at it. So anyway, check it out. And as it comes out, I'll be looking for that as well because I'm very interested in what they talk about there. Very weird. I've never heard of brown, oily skinned with red eyes aliens. That's a whole new one. But
that's new to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes we just hear about the Greys and reptilians, the Nordics, what's another one? I guess there's so many different kinds, but never the brown, oily skinned ones. That's not good. And why was the police officer handling them? It's like, yeah, might want to put some gloves on before you start grabbing aliens. I'm just saying. That's got to be in the first aid guidebook, right? Do not
human
grab
curiosity.
Yeah, I guess. All right, let's go to the next article here that I've pulled up for your viewing and pleasure and listening, in case you're just listening. I wonder how long this one is. I got to be careful here. This one's not too bad. So this one is another one, and it's this one I've had for a while. I guess I guess it's brand new, August 6th, 2022. So it is brand new. But this is from unexplained-mysteries.com. CIA files reveal that the Soviets were developing cybernetic telepathy. Cybernetic telepathy. Wow. Newly released documents suggest that the Soviet Union was experimenting with telepathic communication. According to the 1960s CIA reports, which were recently released under the Freedom of Information Act, the USSR had looked extensively into metaphysical phenomena such as extrasensory perception, or ESP, and telepathy during the Cold War. At the time, there was a great interest in the potential to use telepathic communication to interface directly with machines, a field generally referred to as cybernetics. In one of the reports, Soviet scientist D.A. Kermanov had told a CIA agent how his team had attempted to record or tape a central nervous system signals of a pianist and broadcast them into the arms of another person who had been otherwise unable to play the piano. The person would then be enabled to play difficult music, but would also would retain some of the skills as permanent learning, the agent wrote. Wow, that's freaky. When pushed for details, however, Kermanov was unable to provide any meaningful data. The agent who conducted the interview also gleaned hints of other experiments, too. Kermanov claimed that Vasilyev had been able to demonstrate very strong ESP with certain subjects, but only certain persons are capable of receiving the waves, he wrote. Some of the ESP in which Kermanov admittedly believed involved not merely guessing events, but the prediction of future random events. Of course, the United States had also conducted its own secretive research into metaphysical phenomena at around the same time, including the use of remote viewing to spy on the satellites, or the Soviets. And we did, Wes Germer and I did a podcast on the Paranormal Portal podcast called, I think it was the Stargate program or something, and it's in our playlist of our podcast, so check it out. We also did a show right here on YouTube about it. So we did both. It's also likely that both were involved in even more out there experiments, but we have yet to hear about. Whether or not either side saw any genuine success, however, remains a topic of debate. You can check out the records over on Government Attic, and there's a link here.
Is that kind of like the documentary Third Eye Spies?
That's exactly what that's about. The remote viewing part of it is, yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna put this. Oh, it's a PDF. There's a link to a PDF, so I'm gonna actually copy that and put that in the chats as well, because it sounds kind of interesting. And that's over on governmentattic.org. I've never heard of that before. Government Attic. What are you keeping in the attic up there? All right, let's see. All right, it's in the YouTube chat now, and I'm going to put it in TFR as well, just for the link to the document itself, and you guys can check it out. But very interesting, very cool, and I guess it'd probably be, if you're interested in what was going on, what kind of research was happening, well, sometimes it's scary. Some of the things that the CIA was actually working on, there's a lot of weird stuff that they were involved in. Very freaky. Very wild. I mean, it's not just the remote viewing, though. It's so much more. It was just really freaky. They were getting involved in occult stuff and summonings and all kinds of strange stuff.
I heard about that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, we often think that it was just like other countries were doing that, like Germany during World War II. And of course, the whole pursuit by Hitler over, the occult and paranormal stuff. He was obsessed with it, but I don't think it was just him. I think that every country's probably been doing some of that too.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, not at all. Here's the next...
Oh, thank you so much, Julie. $5.
Oh, thank you. Wow. That's really cool. Thank you so much. That's really awesome. Okay. So the next article coming up here on the news is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Dead woman climbs out of her coffin, and this is from 2012. So there you go, Sheldon. A dead woman climbed out of it. I think they call those zombies, right?
Yeah, they would.
Let's see what this is about, though, because probably she was just mispronounced dead, but let's see. Neighbors had assumed the worst when they found the 95-year-old not breathing and motionless. Believing her to have died in keeping with Chinese tradition, Li Zhifeng was placed in a coffin in her house so that relatives could pay their last respects. The day before the funeral, however, a full 6 days later, they entered the house and discovered that her coffin was empty. After searching high and low, they were astonished to find her alive and well, cooking food in her kitchen.
Oh, my God.
Y'all want to come on and sit down and eat? She said, I slept for a long time, she said. After waking up, I felt so hungry and wanted to cook something to eat. Wow. There you go, folks. It was like the Monty Python line. Bring out your dad. I'm not dead yet. Well, she wasn't either. That's crazy. She goes and whips up some dinner. I guess we probably have a hankering for some dinner after 6 days in a coffin, but that'll probably work up a good hunger. So I'm glad she's all right. I'm sure, this is again from 2012, so I'm sure she's probably most likely passed away since then. But wow, what an incredible story. She just got up and decided to cook dinner. Oof.
She beat Jesus's record.
Yeah, exactly. That's insane, huh?
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, well, you just never know what you're going to hear. I'll bet you guys didn't know that before you tuned in tonight. You're welcome. All right, let's see what else is on here. We're down to about 6 minutes, so we're okay. I still got a few articles to go, but if we don't get through it all, that's okay, because these are now from the archives, just like the last one. Here's one from the February 20th in 2012. I think this would probably be just about as horrible a situation as you'd ever want to be in, short of being buried alive. But this is probably up in the second place category. But from unexplained-mysteries.com, man survives for 2 months trapped in a car. A man in Sweden has been rescued after being stuck in the snow in his car for a whole 2 months. Oh my God. The 45-year-old had become stuck at the end of a remote forest track with no food or supplies and was in there for 2 months before finally being found by snowmobilers who examined the car, believing it to be a wreck. It is believed the man survived by drinking melted snow and by entering a dormant-like state. Just incredible that he's alive considering they had no food, but also since it's been really cold for some time after Christmas, said a member of the rescue team. So what does that mean? Did he hibernate? Are they saying he hibernated or what? What's a dormant-like state?
I'm guessing he was so cold, but not to the point of like damage, unless he sustained damage, that his metabolism slowed down or something.
Wow. Do you think maybe we have maybe our ancestors at some point did hibernate or could have hibernated? I don't know. That's pretty incredible. I mean, hibernation is a pretty specific biological function. It's like the body has to allow itself to cool to the point that there's no crystallization of any cells, the water. You don't want it to like crystallize and because that would rupture all the cells. So like when, with amphibians and stuff, when they maybe not, maybe it just keeps the body warm enough just above that freezing point. But my God, that's amazing. I went into a dormant-like state. I wish they would have more information about that, but
I know.
2 months he was in a car and drinking melted snow. I'd be chewing on car seats by that time for sure.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's a sandwich. I believe it's a sandwich. You just got to have that positive mental state in your prime rib.
Get that imagination in there, yeah.
Exactly. You can kind of imagine your way through it, maybe. I don't know. That's pretty disturbing, though. Poor guy. Wow. Always tell people where you're going, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's a good takeaway. Let people know. Let somebody know. It didn't sound like this guy let anybody know. Wow. Very freaky. All right, so let's go to... I think we got time for one or two more here. Let's see what goes on. Oh, this is kind of a cool story, Sheldon. Everybody's always looking for a bargain. And sometimes, people go to like secondhand stores or they go online and they buy used things. So everybody's looking for that treasure, some kind of treasure to pop up. Well, here's a story from unexplained-mysteries.com from 2012, February again. And this man finds $26,000 in a safe he bought on eBay. Ooh. Payday. Wonder what he paid for the safe. It says an eBay user got more than he bargained for when he purchased a safe online and found $26,000 in it. I feel like the stupidest idiot in the world, said Lebrec, the man he had bought the safe from.
Oh, man. To be him.
Lebrec had received this safe and had decided to sell it on because he didn't have the combination and did not know that there was anything inside. Despite a concerted exchange of emails between him and his buyer, Lebrec has so far failed to get any of the money back. I made a mistake, That's what it boils down to. He said, well, yeah, I mean, if you sold it, you sold it. You go, well, hey, I'm sorry, I left that cash in there. I forgot.
Yeah, true.
It's like you sold the safe. You didn't open it. Yeah, you kind of just let it go. That's too bad, though. I feel bad for that guy. But feel good for the guy that bought it. That's pretty cool. I don't know. Is he a safe cracker or what? The guy that bought it?
True. How'd it get in? What the
Well, I mean, you can drill them out, but it pretty much destroys the safe. It's not like you can't go backwards, I don't think, with that kind of stuff. But wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, true.
Very cool story. Well, it is for the guy that bought the safe anyway. I don't think we got time for anything more, but I wanted to take a quick minute and just let you guys know that coming up, I guess we should get out of the news first. Let's get back to the show. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we're going to be heading to... What happened? What did I miss?
Oh, sorry. Maggie's comment. Why is money called dough? Because we all need it.
Coming up in September 8th through the 11th, we're going to be in Vernal, Utah at Phenomicon, ladies and gentlemen. And we'd love to be able to meet you there. So if you're not busy on September 8th through the 11th of this year, head to Vernal, Utah, where Phenomicon is happening, and you can see this amazing list of speakers and presenters that'll be there. Go to phenomicon.net for more information. Phenomicon.net. Thank you, guys. We'll be right back after this commercial break. All right, everybody, we're in the second half hour of the show. Remember, this is a 2-hour show, so we're in the second half of the first hour. There's another full hour after this. So for those of you that are new to the show, I saw it come up in the comments on YouTube. So as we're broadcasting on YouTube Live, we are also simulcasting on TFR Live, which is being simulcasted on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. So for the TFR Live, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, they take half-hour breaks. Every half hour or 27 minutes, there's a commercial break, and that's how they pay the bills. So in order to sync that up, I do the little video breaks that you just saw on YouTube, along with some original music of mine. So that's what's going on. It's kind of a different format. I understand our Wednesday show is commercial free, unless, of course, we need the loo or something like that. The things happen. But generally, Wednesday shows, which are also on 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, are from 7 till 9 is a straight run. Now, Friday, Saturday shows are every 27 minutes. We'll be taking a couple-minute break, but that's just to keep us in sync, because on Friday and Saturday, we're also simulcasting on those other networks. So just so you understand how this works, I hope that makes sense. It's not because we're so worked out and whipped because we work so hard, but we got to have breaks just to keep it all in sync. So that's the explanation. That's the inside baseball on that one. So anyway, I'm saying so a lot, aren't I? So we are, how you doing, Sheldon, by the way? Good?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
If you're on YouTube and it seems like Sheldon is starring in his own Kung Fu movie, it's because there's a bit of a delay between his video feed and the audio. So it looks like he's in a Chinese Kung Fu theater here, but it's just because I haven't figured out how to take out that little bit of a video slip that happens there. But anyway, yeah. Oh, thank you, Cody. I'm glad Cody's a new listener. He says he just subbed, and he also said he thinks his house is haunted. Well, yeah, if you've got a lot of experiences, to anybody listening now, the Paranormal Portal is also an audio podcast on all the major platforms. So if you have some cool paranormal stories and you wouldn't mind sharing them, you can certainly email me at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com, and I'll interview you for the podcast, and hopefully you'll check that out as well. So either way, there's portals all over the place. I'm slowly trying to take over the world, but it's a really slow process. So, but last night, Sheldon and I were going through this article that's from Thought Catalog, and we got about, I don't know, maybe about halfway through, maybe a little further. But these are some strange accounts that people have had, and it's a collection. It's an aggregated article, meaning that whoever wrote it, it's who's the person? Emily Madriga is the one that wrote it. It's, again, from thoughtcatalog.com. The article is called 21 Strange Stories About What It's Like to Actually Meet a Lizard Person in Real Life. Now, I will tell you, that's what they titled the article, but most of these stories have nothing to do with lizard people. I haven't, in fact, heard one yet that I'm sure is, but it was aggregated from a thread on Reddit, which was talking about, have you ever met somebody that you think that wasn't a human? Like there was something else, looked human, but didn't seem to be human. And so that's what this is, a collection of stories. So the lizard people was a bit of a misleading. But anyway, it's been a good article, and most of these are very short. So without further ado, I guess we could get to that. And this is, we're on the Men in Black one. I should cover up the name of that last guy. That was a little disgusting. Yeah.
That's right.
I was like, this one was by, never mind. I can't read that.
Nope,
I try to keep, this is a family show. I don't want it to be gross and, not any more gross than normal. But anyway, this one's called The Men in Black. Moved into a new apartment complex last year, and I'm positive one of our neighbor couples are aliens. Both seem to be both seem to be in their 40s. The husband is nice, but it seems very fake nice. Like, not snobby or anything, but genuinely trying to put on a show. When I say hi to him, he always slowly raises his hand, stares, and then after a few moments gives me a very weird hi there. He's also constantly working outside of his garage area. on like man stuff, but none of his projects or purchases ever see the light of day. It's like it's all a show. The wife is even more bizarre. Unlike her husband, anytime I say hi to her, she stares at me and kind of follows me with her eyes and doesn't say anything. She'll stand in the apartment entrance, and if I pull my car in, she just stares and doesn't move until my car is weirdly close to her. The wife's weirdest trait? Well, I've never seen her wear shoes, but I have never seen her feet. I've never seen her wear shoes, but I have never seen her feet. She wears socks all year round. On 2 occasions, caught her outside in the pouring rain doing things with only socks on her feet. Takes walks with socks, plays with her kids in only socks. Everything this couple does seems like stuff straight out of a Men in Black movie.
Oh,
That was by Swarhammer. More Edgar suits, Sheldon. More Edgar suits. That's it.
yep. There we go.
How funny, sugar.
Oh, stop.
You remember that, right? The Edgar.
I do.
He always needed to
That
drink
weird-
sugar water.
Yes.
All
Fun
right.
guy.
The next one, well, I mean, yeah, I think we've all met people that just don't seem right. Like they seem like something's
Yeah.
just not tuned in there. Like their radio's a little far off the dial or something. But, there's bizarre people, but I don't know. Could they be aliens? Maybe. I don't know.
Socks in the rain, that's a red flag. To me, at least. That's like psychopath level.
Maybe she just got really funky feet and like shoes are painful to her or something. I don't know. I mean, I've met plenty of weird people in my life, and I guess I have wondered, because I know the idea out there is that there are several species of extraterrestrials that actually live here and they look like us, but they're not us. So when it's like, I'm always saying hi to people. It's like my thing. It's like, hey, how you doing? Hi, and smiling and being cordial to people, because I just think that that's important. But then you'll come by these people and maybe they're just dicks. I don't know. I mean, they could just be, but they just go straight ahead. Even if it's obvious, like it's only that person and me, and they're walking straight by me, almost brushing me. I'm like, oh, how you doing? And they just ignore and go straight ahead. So maybe I give them the wrong vibe too. I don't know. Maybe I'm the weirdie. Maybe I'm the
Maybe you're
weirdie
the weirdo.
in that situation. I don't know. But I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's crossed my mind. Are those aliens? Is that why they don't know how to say hi? Could be.
Good cope.
But anyway, next up is Possessed Celeb. A few years ago, I was part of an independent media team covering a major event. Not quite Super Bowl or presidential inauguration caliber, but maybe a tier below that. We were covering the street scene, and the producer's goal was to try to get as many off-the-cuff interviews with famous people as possible. We'd chase mere rumors of even Z-list celebrities all day long. So on the day we're walking down the bar strip, the bar strip of the city where the event took place, and this dude and his posse rounded the corner in front of us and started walking our way. The guy was tall, good-looking enough, well-dressed, and looked like he was having a good time. He was also a total dark cloud shadow. What does that mean? He was wrong. That's the only way I know how to put it. Like we were only seeing a man because our minds were frantically trying to spare us the sight of what was actually there. Well, that's a bizarre statement. It was a hot day, but I swear the temp dropped about 15 degrees as soon as we saw him. And all of us, me, producer, cameraman, and sound guy, got walloped by this massive wave of get the hell off away from that man right now, all at once. We turned in unison without saying a word and just booked it. I've never in my life caught a vibe that bad off a living person before or since. And we all felt it like getting kicked in the teeth. It wasn't until we were several blocks away and the sound guy asked, "Hey, wasn't that X?" It hadn't occurred to us, but the man was actually a celebrity and pretty well known one at the time. He had a nasty reputation, but so do a lot of the people we talked to, and nothing like what could have accounted for that pure wave of Arctic evil that swamped all of us and made us run, especially since none of us recognized him at first. Well, should we go back and try to talk to him? Someone said to the producer who'd been running us ragged all over much smaller fish all day long. The hell we will, the producer said. Not on your life. I need a drink. And later on, I described all of this to a friend who has a background in what? Candomble? I don't know what that means. O-M-B-L-E. That's a new word to me. No idea. And she said that guy was being ridden by something pretty damn bad for sure. Apparently that's what people who are possessed by bad things look and feel like. And I actually kind of believe it. That was by a person named Scary Wheel. Huh. You know, there is that. I guess, you know, if someone is hosting a horrible entity, you know, I bet you it's visceral. I bet you would feel it. You know, like just that cold wave of, ooh, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that feeling.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's hard to say because it was such a brief moment, you know, of just honestly just being around the person.
But you've experienced it?
Well, like, you know, that vibe you get when you're meeting someone or talking to someone, you just get this, like, this feeling, you know, of like you don't want to be around this person and there's no reason for you that they gave to you. So, I mean, if that's what they're talking about, at least. Well,
I think it could be, but it sounds like it's even worse. Like, I don't know. Everybody, I think, has met someone that's just like, I don't like that guy. I don't want to be around that guy. I don't, you know, I mean, without even really knowing them outside of a quick hello, it's just like, nope. I've met few people like that. And maybe it is, maybe it's kind of that, but I've also met people that just weirded me out. Like there was just something sideways about them. Like just, I don't know. And it's mostly a vibe like this person is explaining, but if we have auras, and I believe we do, we are projecting energetically in the space around us. So if you have something horrible, dark and horrible in you, and if there's a person around with any kind of empathy, I think they would pick up on that, like, pow, you know. So I don't know. It's very possible. But, you know, there's also the story, like, how did they get famous? Did they sell their soul? You know? So maybe this person did. I don't know. All right. Next one up is soothing. Not me, but my mom. When she was pregnant with me, 7 months or so, went to check up how everything was, and the doctors were worried that I was too big and could be born with congenital diabetes. Well, this scared her because in her family, one of her cousins had diabetes as a kid, and she didn't have a very good life. They didn't try to calm my mom or give her any sort of assurance as to how she was supposed to keep on taking care of me and her, and left her to leave the appointment crying. Wow, that's a good bedside manner.
Jeez.
Jeez. Do not go to that clinic. On her way back to the car, she says that a man approached her and told her that everything was going to be fine and that I was going to be a big baby, but a healthy one. She doesn't remember the face of the man or anything before that, but she just felt better. And when she turned to say thanks, he wasn't there anymore. Wow, that's cool. So, is that a divine intervention?
Seems like it.
Doesn't
or
it?
angel
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, it seems like it.
Some kind of a divine assurance, because who knows? I mean, if you're thinking, God, is it fair to bring a baby that's going to have all of these problems in? I mean, I don't know. So it was really, it was reassuring to her, and sure enough, the guy turned out right, or the girl. I don't know if this is a male or female. It was written by California. It was starting with a K and ending with an H. Okay. Next is a real time travel, and this one's really short. It says, I met a gentleman, wizard, cloak, and the whole bit, in the dark at a festival. Told me he always knew when he was going to time travel because his gums would bleed. He also offered my friend drugs.
The fact that they added this story.
Yeah, it says no paleontologist 359. Yeah, if you're hitting the sauce, you're probably going to do all kinds of traveling. But
oh yeah.
his gums bleed. That's a hell of a barometer for time travel. But hey, what do I know? I don't think I've time traveled. So, Here's the next one. I'm the lizard person. Oh, is this an admission? It says, when I was in my late teens, I was working at Walmart, and these 2 teen girls came up behind me hollering another guy's name. I just ignored it until I got tapped on the shoulder. They said the name again right next to my face and asked why I would just walk right past them and not say anything. I told them I wasn't who they were saying, and they continued to argue with me that I was someone else for a while. Well, they eventually gave up, saying I was not being funny, and left. Maybe I'm the traveler.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh
my God, these names
are almost better entertainment than the stories. That was written by Get Your Van Off My Meat. I don't know. Gotta love it. Next one up is hallucination. Not me, friend of mine, was really, really sick with the flu, could barely stand. He sat down outside the pharmacy while they were getting him his meds ready. The girl with bright blue hair sat down across from him and said, "You aren't looking too good." And they had a weird conversation, and he finally asked, "Are you a hallucination?" To which she replied, "Yes, but not one of yours," and walked away. To this day, he's not sure if she was really there or not.
I think she's
she thought it was just a bad pickup line.
yeah, I think so.
No, I'm not single. See ya. That was by Goblin Marketeer. Huh. That's hilarious. Yeah, but not yours. Okay. That's getting shut
Pretty
down
witty,
in a whole
actually. Not bad.
Getting shut down in a whole unique way. All right, this one's called Shadow Aura. I don't believe in auras or in any traditional sense, but every so often I'll see a certain glow or color about a person. Sounds exactly like an aura. How can you not believe in an aura if you see that? It's like,
yeah, seriously.
It's like the skeptics.
What?
Like,
that's so contradicting.
Right.
What?
It's like the skeptics. Like, I don't believe in ghosts, but this one time, and they'll go on to explain these amazing stories of where they had this horrible haunting event, and then it goes back at the end to like, I don't know what that was, but I don't believe in ghosts. It's like, well, what is
that?
What do you
might be their
it?
cover, though. They're like closeted believers.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
So I see it as part of the brain's wonderful plastic ability to interpret information, as opposed to physical reality. But one day I was waiting tables at a restaurant, and a man with I can only describe as a dark cloud shadow walked in. He almost looked like an animated villain. It stuck out to me so much. There was a slight misunderstanding at the beginning of our interaction, and he was going to try to get me fired. I used every ounce of my customer service strength and ability to turn him around to the point where he liked me. He then proceeded to order a steak extra well done. Ooh, that's horrible.
Yeah,
why would you do that? He is evil.
Yeah, true.
The man terrified me. His eyes were beady and empty, and his smile was crooked. He saw a chance to hurt me, and he took it. But before all else, I saw the shadow hang over him. I later heard rumors from several people that he was involved in all kinds of human trafficking on one side or the other, and boy, do I believe it. Yeah, that was by Grade A Honky. Okay. Yeah, I think you've got to be a whole different kind of bad person to be involved in that. I don't know how you could do that with any kind of. I mean, you really almost can't have a soul if you could do that to people. You've got to be devoid of something. But anyway,
you'd have to be completely emotionally detached to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
It's like I see auras, but I don't believe in auras.
Yeah, I see them, but I don't believe in it. It's my brain doing funky stuff. Okay. What did he do? Many years ago, I was working as a receptionist / secretary at a professional firm. One day this guy came in, older guy, thin wire-rimmed glasses, and had a German accent. Well, the alarm bells went off. He never said or did anything inappropriate, but my skin was crawling, and I couldn't get away from him fast enough. I ducked out to fetch the owner who would be meeting with this potential client. It wasn't a long meeting, and after the client left, I told my boss what I'd been feeling around the guy. He believed me, but couldn't relate, as he Didn't get any weird vibes off of the old guy. Thankfully, we never saw him again. This has never happened again, and I often wonder what he did in his spare time to carry so much fear and negativity around him. That was by Halogen 12. Wow. Yeah, I mean, certainly people carry the vibes of all the crap that they did. We got, looks like one more on this article. And this is the Jogging Angel. One evening in winter, I didn't leave work till almost 7 p.m., so I was walking home and I thought, screw it, I'll cut through the park and get home quicker, even though it's really poorly lit. Well, a couple of minutes into the park, I could hear a group of people behind me and in front of me, and was thinking, oh no, I'm going to get jumped. Up ahead, there was a lamppost with a CCTV camera on it, so I thought, I'll stop there and at least I'll get jumped on camera. As I stood beneath this light, this really tall woman jogged over and stopped next to me. I'm 6 feet tall and she was way taller than me, and she asked me, is it okay if I walk with you? And I was like, sure, okay, I guess. And she walked with me to the edge of the park, talking about how dodgy the park was at night. And as soon as we got to the edge of the park, she told me to have a good night and then jog back into the park. It was a really weird experience, and I felt certain I would have been mugged or something if she wasn't there. I walked through the park every day for about a year, and I never saw her again. That was by Beverage Beast. So, could it be an angel? Maybe. What do you think, Sheldon?
Perfect place at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Could be.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about this, these stories like this. There's a serendipity, right? There's a serendipity that has to happen for it to be, for it to happen the way it did. I'm just trying to turn off my Alexa because it's playing out there and I don't want it to. All right, there we go. Got it stopped.
I think your vibes around these kind of people can tell you things too. If you feel really safe and secure because they're strangers, but if you feel that for no reason, then I think it's a good indication.
Yeah. I mean, if you're an intuitive person, I think everybody is to some degree, right? We all get vibes, we all get feelings, or have moments where we pick up things. But I think absolutely horrible people to a sensitive person would be like a blazing beacon. Like I think, hopefully they will pick up on that horrible, nature of the person and avoid them. But I don't know. I mean, I really do believe there is a force or an energy that is, quote unquote evil. And there are things that want to undermine us. And, very spiritually and metaphysically, but also there's horrible people. And, the combination of those two would be absolutely nightmarish. But it's cool that people have these interactions because even in the dark ones, it's still a testament to the fact that we don't know a lot. There's a lot going on here. We don't know. Are we in a simulation? Maybe. Are we in something else? Or is it just, there's just so much more going on dimensionally or energetically than we can perceive most of the time. But every once in a while, something pokes through. And it could be like an encounter like these. So I think they're really cool. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I think it was a really cool list. But, if you didn't, well, I apologize, but all I can do is aggregate stuff. Now, the phone lines are open, too. If anyone wants to call in, you certainly are welcome to. The number is right below. Well, it's not on the screen right now, but it will be. But if you're not seeing the number and you want to call in, 720-923-0500 is the number to call in. So if you want to call in and tell us something you've experienced, by God, get on it, because we'll be waiting for you. So love it when
or experiencing.
Yeah, if you have experiences you want to talk about, like if you believe your house might be haunted. Just saying. little rib nudge to our new viewer.
Somebody out there,
but it's an option. It's it's certainly something we're happy to do. So that's a big part of the show, and it always makes my night when you guys call in, because I think it's great to have discussions, or have something to share.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember I pulled this up. This is kind of a weird cryptid that I think we're going to talk about next. After the hour break, we're going to talk about something called the Ningen. Now, the Ningen is a weird cryptid, and it's something you don't hear much about. I believe it's from Japan. The stories of it are from Japan, but it's this weird aquatic humanoid thing. But apparently they're enormous, like 12 plus feet tall or long, as the case may be when you're seen in the water. But are there things in our oceans that still remain to be documented? Definitely.
Oh, for sure.
Well, when we come back, we're going to look into the Ningen. So buckle up. It's about to get spooky. We'll be right back after these messages.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me as their lies keep falling apart. Finished with my silence. I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness. Just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise. You're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed. I'm not wrong yet. I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken yet.
Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force. It is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
They can go on for years and years and years. But hopefully will the Paranormal Portal go on for years and years and years. But we've already been going for, I guess, 6 years now. 6 years was the birth of the portal, 2016. So, yeah, it's been a while. Wow. But we are into hour number 2, folks, as you are I'm sure aware of. But we got a lot more of the paranormal to get through as well. We've got some stories from Sasquatch Chronicles coming up, as well as another article, as I said, about the Ningen. The Ningen. Maybe it's pronounced Ningen. I'm not sure. It's a hard G or a soft G or what. But anyway, again, the Ningen or Ningen is a strange white humanoid being that lives in the icy waters around Antarctica. And it's a very strange thing. I've seen some images that purport to be actual evidence of a Ningen or Ningen, but are they legitimate? Well, chances are probably not, because most of what you see on the internet is not legitimate, but it's definitely a possibility because this is an old legend. It's been around for ages, and apparently sightings still occur from time to time, so there might be something out there. And again, I think, what did Doc say? Doc Manhattan said before the break, or as the break was starting, talking about the oceans. He said, our oceans, if explored, would leave us with more questions than answers. Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's hard to imagine what could exist out in our oceans, and even in our world that we're not aware of course. And I think that's largely what the paranormal is made up of. I think once it's understood, it won't be paranormal anymore, because it'll just be normal. As our understanding grows, the demystification of these phenomena will occur as well, if we're capable of understanding this stuff. But we're dealing with what are probably exotic energies we're not even aware are surrounding us, and that would be like spirit energies and stuff. The closest we can come to that is the fact that, paranormal investigators seem to be able to detect changes in EM fields around, where spiritual activity or paranormal activity is happening. And that's a breadcrumb. That's a piece of the puzzle. But what kind of energy is it? Because we don't detect volts or things like that. It's just an EM field. Are we essentially boiling down to an EM field after we shed the body? I don't know. But anyway, there's a lot to know. And so, by God, that's the journey of the portal, folks. Are you ready to learn about the Ningen or Ningen?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, let's check it out. This is from thoughtcatalog.com once again. And this is 12 facts about the Ningen or Ningen. I'm just gonna call it Ningen. Because I hate saying both names over and over, and it sounds stupid. So we're going to call it the Ningen. Sorry, Ningen. Yeah. I was like, which one was I calling it? The creepiest animal you've never heard of. So this is written by Emily Madriga. Again, she's the one that accumulated the last article that we read, dealing with the strange non-human human-looking non-humans. Was the last list, and this is hers again. So Looks like it's from 2021, July 26, 2021. So Ningens are Sorry, I'm screwing it up now. I'm screwing it up myself. Oh, Jesus. Ningens are human. Stop it! You're not gonna help me. You're not helping, Sheldon. Ningens are humanoid creatures that live in the icy waters near Antarctica. Ningens are human-like and are completely white in color, and some people think they're an undiscovered species of apes who are able to breathe underwater. Well, that would not make them the same, right? Because there are no mammals that breathe in water, right? Right? I mean, all mammals breathe oxygen. Well, I mean, so do fish and stuff, but they get it from the water. So anyway, breathe underwater. Sometimes ningens appear to have a mermaid tail or other fins on their body, while others report they have hind legs that enable to walk on land. So they might be semi-aquatic and not completely aquatic. Rumors about the existence of Ningen originate in Japan because of its Japanese fishing and research vessels that first began to report sightings of the creatures. Upon first sighting, members of a Japanese research ship thought they were seeing a foreign submarine off in the distance, and upon getting closer, they realized it was a living animal. Eventually, the creature went back underwater. It is believed that those aboard this research ship were able to extensively document the sighting with photos and video. That evidence has never surfaced either because the government influence or cultural pressure to not be associated with the paranormal event. Oh, what is this? Ningens rose to popular knowledge after an article was published about them in a 2007 issue of a Japanese paranormal magazine. The article called them the Antarctic humans and included a Google Maps screenshot of what appeared to be a Ningen off the coast of Namibia. Well, I don't know. That could be just a whale, or could be a what's left of an iceberg too. I don't know. Anyway, Ningen appears most often at night. Ningen means human in Japanese. Oh, okay. Sometimes Ningen are described as the size of humans or apes. Other times they appear to be 60 to 90 feet long with the blueberry skin of a whale. Or blubbery. Sorry. Blubbery skin of a whale, not blueberry. But you can tell I'm hungry, right?
Yeah.
Some people go so far as to say that some of the images you find of Ningen online are purposefully unbelievable to siphon credibility from real photos. Okay. This is a famous image for those of you that are, I'm going to copy this and put it over in TFR so that the TFR listeners can see it as well. But this is an image that's been around for quite a long time, and I don't really think this is legitimate. I think it's most probably some version of Photoshop, but
yeah, it's off.
It does. It almost looks like an upright frog with no arms. You know, I mean, like it's walking bipedally, and doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't. There's something.
Oh, I see how you're seeing it. I'm seeing it differently. It looks slouched over to me.
Yeah,
okay.
It does, but it does like look slouched over, but there doesn't appear to be arms at all. It just looks like a torso, head, big eye, and some legs. So I don't know. I don't know what scale we're looking at, but I'll tell you, I think it's just the way that this water on both sides of the Ningen appear to be kind of smudged, and more so than the other pieces of water or shadowing reflections that occur behind it and around it. This seems unusually muddy, with almost no wave reference, very little wave reference throughout the smudging, whereas everywhere else there's pretty clearly these wave layers that look very distinct. So, in my opinion,
that I would believe if you said that was a painting, but not a photograph. Yeah.
Oh no, I think it's a photograph, but yeah. It says possibly the photograph of the mythical Antarctic dwelling cryptid Ningen. I do not have the source of this image, so I have no idea whether or not it was forged. However, it is most likely a fake. Well, good. Yep, I agree. Who posted this? Oh, it says Everything Cryptic. Okay. Everything Cryptic posted that. Interesting. But it says Ningen have eyes and a mouth, but no other facial features. Supposedly, this underwater video shows what a Ningen is like in its habitat. Well, I wish we could show that, but I can't really show videos on Friday and Saturday because there's no way to audio to feed it to an audio audience. So very interesting. Anyway, I guess I could just look at it briefly here, just see what it looks like.
Why not?
The video is unavailable when I click the link. It's a broken link, so there's no such video apparently. The main reason information about the Ningen is limited is because the remote location they live in means it's very expensive to take a trip with just the hopes of catching sight of one. Though there are also rumors the Japanese government is monitoring internet postings and photos on Ningen and attempting to remove them. Why would they? I just don't buy that. I don't know. So with any kind of cover-up, there has to be a reason for it to be covered up. And what would be the purpose? Is it because it may stop fishing in certain areas if they believe there's this creature there? Is that what the fear could be, to provide the cause for a cover-up? And maybe. But I mean, it's I guess that would be the strongest possibility I could think of, because of course the Japanese culture relies a lot on fishing and whaling and such, and they do a lot of fishing and such down by the Antarctic region. So if they substantiated these things as being there, it could suddenly make the Antarctic region a protected habitat for these things. Maybe that would justify a cover-up, but there at least has to be some kind of rationale behind that. I don't think that, I don't doubt that there are cover-ups in terms of UFO information, and maybe even in terms of cryptids and stuff. I just don't always understand, and a lot of people say, well, for like Bigfoot, it's the logging. They don't want to substantiate him because it would shut down a huge part of the logging industry. But is that really what would happen? I don't know. Maybe not. But could that? I don't think that governments just go out of their way to suppress information for the sake of suppressing information. It's like there seems to need to be a pretty firm rationale or vested interest to keep it hidden.
It would have to benefit them somehow for them to do it.
Yeah, I got a real X-Files kind of idea about the Bigfoot, but I don't know if I'm probably alone in my thoughts on it, and it's probably not very valid, but it just occurs to me that it could be a reason. But
go ahead.
You want me to share my conspiracy theory?
I would love for you to share your thoughts, because it's all about discussion on the Paranormal Portal.
Well, you're right. So what I thought about years ago, and ladies and gentlemen, forgive me if this sounds like it's way out there, like way out in the goofy land, but it did occur to me. Now, one part of history that continues to show up is the desire to create better soldiers, stronger, faster, more agile, able to survive, able to sustain more damage and continue. And so what if there was a being out there that we understand as Sasquatch that could be used to study and for potential genetic manipulation or splicing or combinations? Now, there are international treaties against such things, but if a creature doesn't exist, does that make it so it's not covered under that treaty and agreement? Now, there's no question that Adolf Hitler was trying to figure out a way to breed humans and gorillas and apes. He tried over and over, as well as the former Soviet Union did a lot of extensive research into that very thing, because they wanted stronger, better, faster, stronger, more robust soldiers to give them some strategic edge. And is it still a function of science to try to produce something of that very nature? And if it was, is it possible? So it's the wild musings of my bored brain. You'll have to forgive me, but it's something I considered. Because is it possible that one of the reasons they won't substantiate a being such as Sasquatch, which there is actually a ton of evidence for, in terms of anecdotal footprint, DNA samples, and people may scoff at the DNA thing, but I think there is plenty of valid DNA samples of these things around. So if they are substantiated, that would then fall under the course of the treaties, that you can't do gene manipulation and editing and stuff on humans and animals together. But if the animal doesn't exist, I don't know. You guys will have to let me know if you think that I'm totally off my rocker here. It's just a silly thought, but
hey, like Dr. Manhattan said in the chat, sometimes truth is stranger than fiction.
Right. Well, that's kind of it. And I guess, the scary version is that I think many people once they look into it are absolutely shocked and appalled when they realize some of the things that have been done in the name of science and in the name of testing, and including testing on populations. And it's absolutely terrifying to think that, governments would do that to their people. But there's very, very well documented history of governments testing on their own populations in order to see what they have. and it's just shocking and horrifying. And so what is the possibility of that? I don't know. How far would they go? I don't know. I'd like to believe that underneath it all, we're all, trying to be good people. I would really like to believe that. I don't believe that that's always the case, though. And it seems that there's potential for such an idea. That, look, there are stories that exist that seem to suggest that whatever Bigfoot are, they seem to be genetically similar enough to us that would provide breeding. There have been apparently hybrid offspring between Bigfoot and human beings. Usually it's not something that's planned. It's people that have been taken and apparently bred and then escaped somehow and have had offspring. So if that's valid, if you look into the Zana story out of Russia, she was captured and kept put in a pit for 3 years until her spirit broke, and then they did all kinds of horrible things with Zana, and she had apparently several offspring, and which continued to survive and have families of their own. So there is a preponderance of not a preponderance, but there is the possibility that these beings are genetically similar to us enough to be able to accommodate crossbreeding. And so I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there. You guys be the judge. Just a thought, but I had it years ago. But could be, maybe not.
I like your theory.
Okay. Well, Rachel says, Paranormal Portal have a theory. They have denser levels of mitochondrial DNA, so they're much more durable in harsher climates, stronger and more durable metabolism, for sure. I mean, the thing about Bigfoot is, and I've said it many times on the show, but I'm going to be redundant here. What they are is the most successful organism on the face of this planet. No matter what kind of environment they are in, they survive and thrive. They survive in mountains, in swamps, in forests, deep in unforgiving wildlands, and they do just fine. These are the most adaptable creatures on the face of the earth. Not only do they survive, but they thrive. And so, I mean, my God, we are about the weakest thing on the planet, honestly, because without shelter and clothing, we're screwed. We would die of exposure before too long. And we don't have the ability to survive. We have the ability to create our comfort wherever we are, because we can build homes and we can provide that perfect temperature and perfect conditions. But these things, wherever they are, they do just fine. Upper, incredible high elevations, incredible fetid swamps, deserts. They're seen in deserts. They're seen in every habitat we know of, and they do just fine. And they're doing it all basically barefoot and naked with regard to the fact that they have hair. But yeah, they're much more robust than we are. Nate says, well, that's it. Time to get the straitjacket for Brent. Totally went off the deep end. Well, I've actually been off the deep end for a long time, Nate say, but yeah,
I can corroborate that.
Yeah, Sheldon knows. But is it possible? Sure. I don't know. Yeah, the Batman says hide and seek champions 1,000 years in a row.
True.
That's true. Yep. Love you too, Lady J. Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Hi, Deb. Good to see you as well. Maybe we should do shout out, Sheldon.
We should. You're right. Let's see who's in the YouTube chat here.
You pull it up, and I'm going to say hello to Bam, Gemini, and Jake. Jake's double dipping. Jake Fortes is in TFR as well.
Nice. Well, on the YouTube end, we have Aggravated Progressive, Batman, Cannabis Resolution, Chris Cirque, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, Cody West, D. Oceans, Deb Varner, Dr. Manhattan, Elaine Clifford, Eliza, Ghost Magnet, Ion Van Cleve, Lady J. Homestead, Maggie, Mr. G, You're Here, Rachel Gets It Right Here, Ruger Ridge, The Unknown, The Fourth Color, Tracy Gale, and someone else snuck in here when I was reading. Isaac Arolia.
Isaac, okay. Gotcha. Great to see everybody. Thank you guys for coming in. Good to see you all. So if we didn't get a shout out, we know that Portal Mom's out there, and maybe even my brother.
And Jake Fortes. I got you. Don't worry.
Brother Jeff might be out there. Yeah, Jake. Me.
Mr. Jeff.
Yeah, he tunes in as well. So the family's represented here on the Portal, folks. But you guys are all family, too. You guys are part of my adopted family. And so
that's right.
You get to deal with me in all my dysfunction and strangeness. And there's plenty more where that came from. So I tell you what, when we come back from break, we're going to bust into, I guess from break, it's the last segment, isn't it?
Oh my God. It
is.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. We have one more half-hour segment to go after this one. But
this isn't fair.
It's not fair, but you know, what can you do? We've got to get through it. But we got some stories from Sasquatch Chronicles to go through. Did I read this one? Yeah, I read that one last time. The last one we read was really cool. It was the large hominid. Excuse me, dude, that's like contagious.
That's contagious.
It's contagious burps. Oh, sorry, folks. Large hominid with red eyes we read last night. That was the forestry worker who saw some strange stuff. And we're going to get into more stuff. I need a break. All of a sudden I'm burpy.
Pass it on to you. All right.
It's a paranormal thing all by itself, Sheldon. I guess I should close that because we already covered that one. So we're going to get into a couple more from Sasquatch Chronicles. And then I got another article from Thought Catalog. If we have time left, we might start visiting that, but it has to do with some cool reports of stories about encounters with witchcraft, voodoo, and the occult. Ooh. But I want to do some Sasquatch Chronicles here because we all love a little Sasquatch Chronicles. And if you haven't already check out the new episode of Sasquatch Chronicles just released. Really good interview with a Hoopa Indian Native American guy. It was fantastic. Really cool to hear about their legends and beliefs and their understanding of the world. I love hearing about other cultures, especially the First Nations. Not just especially, but I think in terms of Sasquatch and cryptids and stuff, they have a much longer history here dealing with these things than any of us. So their traditions are just fascinating. Their insights and knowledge. And apparently this gentleman's grandmother was a medicine woman. So she has a really fantastic insight, not only into the spiritual side of it as well. So very cool. I was trying to find a website for Paranormal Portal. YouTube never has enough resolution to clearly see the pics Brent tries to show. I'm sorry, buddy. Sorry about that, Batman. I don't have another venue to show the site. I'm working on a paranormalportal.com or some URL, whatever I can manage to secure. But and then we'll simulcast them on there as well. But until then, we're kind of stuck with just whatever we can get from YouTube. So if you're not seeing it clearly, you can go into the YouTube settings and jack up the resolution a bit. I don't know how high can it go, Sheldon?
1080p is the highest.
1080p. So you should be able to blow it up to 1080p. So unless you're looking on a really, really big screen TV, 1080p should be a good image. But if you're not seeing a good image, then I do apologize. But this is the best we got so far, but I'm working on it. So Special thank you to all of our members who make, the growth of the show possible, and all of you that contribute in your different ways. And I'll tell you, one of the best ways to contribute is just be here when you can for the live shows, like the streams, leave comments on the videos that you didn't watch live. That goes so far to helping promote the show in the YouTube algorithms, and it's double tough, triple, quadruple tough to get any kind of traction on YouTube. So I don't pay for advertising for the show, but just to a small measure. But other than that, we are where we are because of all of people like you spreading the word and letting people know. So thank you for that. You guys are all amazing. And we are going to go to the break in just a second here. We'll be right back after a quick break for more, the last half hour of our show tonight. So don't go away. Oh, thank you, Batman. Appreciate it a bunch. Thank you so much. New member to the show. A couple members tonight. This is exciting. Really appreciate it, guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. At the end of the show, speaking of that, there's a couple new members as well. Today I meant to add them to the thank you screen at the end during the credits of the show, but that is, of course, Damian Van Blocken and Cecil Webb Jr. are also new members, and I'll get all your names added to the graphic at the end. But that's fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. That means the world. It all helps so much. And again, there's many ways to help. So if you're able to, fantastic. If you're not able to, just be here, give us a like. That helps a ton. All right, so before the break, I promised you guys a story from Sasquatch Chronicles, our good friend Mr. Wes Germer's site. And I like to, I say it every show because I think it's important. Everybody knows Sasquatch Chronicles, the podcast, and it's an amazing show. I mean, truly second to none in the paranormal and cryptid fields. There's no better show out there. Even my own show is not better than, in my own opinion. But I will tell you that SasquatchChronicles.com is a great place to catch a lot of things that don't make it on the show, just because I'm sure the amount of material Wes gets and people contacting him, there's no way to put it all on. He just couldn't do enough shows to make all of that happen. But he does post a lot of things on his blog as well. And there's links to other shows on there. So if you ever get a chance and you haven't done it yet, head over to SasquatchChronicles.com and check out the website. And as far as that goes, check out the Confessionals.com too. Tony Merkel, a good friend of ours as well. His podcast and his website is fantastic. He and his wife Lindsay do that. In fact, I'm gonna start farming chronicles for some stuff for the shows too.
Yeah, why not?
Just got my content rake out and I'm just pulling it from the neighbors. That's awesome. We use phantoms and monsters quite often as well. So just fantastic friends we have. So thank you all so much. But this is a new one from the Sasquatch Chronicles blog. And it's pretty long, so it's probably going to take most of this segment to read, but I'll do the best I can. If it looks like I'm running short, I'm going to do some speed reading, but we'll get through it, I promise. But you can always catch it yourself by heading over to SasquatchChronicles.com if you want to read it for yourself. And this is the article in question is from August 2nd. I didn't see what I thought I did. And starts out, a listener writes, I'm 48 now, and this happened when I was 23 or 24, so it was some time ago. I live in the Lehigh Valley in the Bethlehem area of northwest Pennsylvania. Sasquatch sightings, as far as I know of, are unheard of in this and surrounding areas, probably for good reason. The immediate area is very populated, not far from other major cities like Philadelphia. And this is most of the reason I decided to share. I can't possibly have seen what I thought I did, not in this area, or did I? Anyhow, my buddy and myself were very avid campers and backpackers at the time, and we have explored a better part of this state and surrounding areas. The Appalachian Trail runs through the state, very close to this area. There is a very popular spot near here on the Appalachian Trail called the Bake Oven Knob. It's basically a lookout type of spot where you can oversee most of the valley. One of our favorite hikes was to start here and work our way northeast along the Appalachian Trail until we hit the highway, Route 209, and then turn northeast off the trail and into the Delaware Water Gap. This route would take us barely over the New Jersey border for a little ways before heading northward again into the Gap. Our ultimate destination was Promised Land State Park, but we wouldn't always make it there. Navigation at this time wasn't as easy as it is now. I had a flip phone at the time, and GPS was well out of my price range, so we would navigate with a map and compass, utilizing landmarks along the way. Once we left the Appalachian Trail and entered the Water Gap, there were no more defined trails. It was mostly trailblazing and bushwhacking from that point on. By car, this trip is only around an hour and a half, but we could easily turn it into a 3 or 4 day hike, sometimes longer, just lollygagging and camping along the way. It was super easy to get lost, and we only ever knew an approximation of our location. until we hit our next landmark. On this particular trip, we had just hit Route 209 and cut north into the Gap. We hiked the better part of the day just exploring the area until an hour or two before sunset. We decided to set up camp for the night, and we were in the process of looking for a clear enough area to pitch our tents, which wasn't always easy since the woods were so thick and overgrown in that area. Oh, thank you, Eliza. We were working our way up what seemed to be a well-traveled game trail when we stopped for a drink to check out the map and get our bearings. As we were looking at the map, I noticed I could smell what I thought was swamp water. It was the rotten vegetation smell you get when slogging through muddy, stagnant, swampy water. It truly stinks like sewage. To my right was mostly uphill, a fairly steep grade, not suitable for a tent, and to my left it seemed a bit flatter, but really hard to tell because you couldn't see more than a foot off the trail. The bushes and growth were thick and tall, making it difficult to see anything without beating a path through just to see what was on the other side. I figured if I could smell a swamp, then hopefully the land would open up a bit more if there was a body of water close by. I decided to have a look and see what lied beyond the bushes, so I turned to my left and took a whack at the bushes with my machete to try and clear a path through. The very second I did that, something took off in the opposite direction. I'm guessing it could have been only feet from us and scared the holy hell out of me. I jumped so much that my machete flew off a considerable distance behind me. I found out later. It was not at all uncommon to stir up a deer or other animal in the areas we traveled, and sometimes just like this, where they don't bolt until the last second and scare the daylights out of you. Just as my buddy started to laugh at me, he abruptly stopped because the sound of what ran off was not at all normal. It sounded like a truck barreling through the woods, running down everything in its path. You could hear the sound of the brush and snapping branches, big branches too, as this thing took off. Imagine a 1,000-pound bowling ball about 10 feet around and now load it up into the world's biggest slingshot and finally release it into the heavily wooded land overgrown with brush. That was the sound. I was initially thinking large buck or black bear, but it was fast, way faster than any deer or bear. Within seconds, it seemed like it made it almost 100 yards through the heavy brush. Probably not that far, but I would guesstimate between 40 and 60 at least. Deer tend to take off in big leaps and bounds and never just plowing down what seemed like small trees. You can tell the sound of a deer running and leaping. I guess it could have been a bear, I don't know. We never got this close to one. I personally thought it sounded bipedal as it ran, but I wasn't sure at all and not nearly qualified enough to make that determination. All I know is that you can tell the difference between a four-legged creature and a two-legged one as they walk through the woods. And this one didn't sound like the four-legged variety. Honestly, it was hard to tell over the immense crashing noise. I regained my composure and decided to have a look and see, so I pushed my way through the bushes, and it did indeed open up some, but not much, and certainly not wide open. There was more distance between the trees and the brush, and was still incredibly thick, albeit not as tall as it was near the path. I looked in the direction of what ran, and this boggled my mind. It was a slight downhill slope, and I'm guessing what was some sort of ravine runoff or small hill/cliff, some distance away. The reason I thought it was this was because I saw the back of a head and two arms from the elbow to the hand as it jumped down into something. I caught literally 1 second of this. If a person were to jump from a small height or distance, they tend to stretch out their arms to their sides and slightly upward, kind of like the I surrender pose. That's what this looked like, but from behind. The thing was as dark as a black bear, and I'm assuming it was covered in hair, but it was so fast, I really couldn't make out any detail. Determining size was also difficult, as I had nothing to compare it to, and it was pretty far away at this point. The one thing I can say is that from hand to hand, its arms stretched out, there seemed to be every bit of 8 feet or more of distance between them. Its arms were slightly bent at the elbow, and the only thing I can say for sure about the size is that, given the distance, any person would have looked much smaller. The reason I'm not thinking this was any other type of animal is that I could clearly see the separation between the fingers, and no person could plow through such thick brush so fast. I thought for a second or two about going down there, but decided against it. The buckthorn around here can get pretty tall and plentiful, and the area was covered with that and giant hogweed. No chance I'm bushwhacking through that stuff. Besides, what if it didn't go much further than the drop-off and was still down there? I was so confused about what I saw. There was no person or animal I know of that could have covered that distance in such heavy brush in such a short time. As more thoughts and scenarios ran through my head, I got increasingly more anxious and nervous and scared. My buddy came through the bushes shortly after me and said, "What the hell was that?" He didn't see anything, but wholly agreed that nothing he knows of sounds like that as it runs through the brush. I did take notice that there was no water or swampy areas in the vicinity, and the smell seemed to have dissipated, or I was just getting used to it, and I told my buddy what I saw, and his only response was, "Well, what then? Bigfoot?" Well, at least he was the first to say it. I honestly couldn't tell if he was joking or not, but the thoughts stuck with me. I didn't know what to think, and still don't. That sort of thing is unheard of in this area. We decided to get the hell out of that area before the sun completely set. We found a small clearing about a mile or so down a game trail, and were torn about what to do because now we really didn't want to be out in an unfamiliar area after dark, especially with what just happened. The clearing was feet from an obviously used game trail, and the area was ripe with wild blueberries and raspberries that attracted all sorts of beasties. Not the ideal camping spot, but the only one we've come across in quite some time, and time was running out to press on looking for another. The grass/weeds in the clearing was fairly tall, and it looked like something bedded down in there recently. Actually, there were at least 3 larger areas where the grass was completely matted down. This in itself is not unusual. I see it often, but I don't know what was using this space, and are they coming back? This clearing wasn't huge, so we decided to pitch only one tent, which honestly wasn't big enough for the 2 of us, but truth be told, sounded much better than sleeping alone. I didn't ask, but I'm sure my buddy agreed. We used the remaining space to make the largest campfire we could manage without melting the tent. We spent a better part of the night tending the fire and jumping at every sound. We didn't have any weapons besides bear spray, so like a couple of frightened girls, we crafted spears from large sticks and stood guard for hours. Besides the earlier incident and a less than ideal camping spot, we didn't have much reason to be so scared, but perhaps our imaginations were getting the best of us. It was around 2 a.m. by the time we decided to turn in for the night. Nothing noteworthy happened up until this point, so we put the remaining wood on the fire and crawled into the tent. We laid inside and talked in whispers, neither one of us attempting to go immediately to sleep, and eventually my eyes got heavy and I felt myself starting to doze off. It was around this time that we heard the loudest thunk of something hitting the ground. The light from the fire was getting lower by this time, but now it flared up for a second, but flickering and getting dimmer. The window on my side of the tent was partially unzipped, and when I looked out, I could see thousands of sparks floating up from the fire in all directions. There were no words. I almost pissed myself. There was no way I was going outside the tent, let alone trying to leave the area in pitch dark, flashlight or not. I was glued to the window, terrified that I would see something, anything at all that I didn't want there. Nothing was out there, just the dying fire. For the next few hours, we listened to what sounded like Something large walking around in the woods, but close to the clearing. It wasn't constant. Here and there we would hear a rustling of bushes, snapping of branches, the shuffling of dry leaves, and what sounded like branches falling from the trees hitting other branches on the way down. Every so often, something small would hit the tent, but that wasn't uncommon either. Lots of times things would fall from the trees and hit the tent, but now it was super scary. The clearing was relatively small, so trees were close, but nothing overhead. Every time we heard the noises, we would shout, "Hey bear, go away bear," and things like that sort. Every time I would scan the area with the flashlight, nothing. It didn't help, and we never did sleep. I contemplated spraying the bear spray around the perimeter of the clearing to discourage anything from coming closer, but I was too chicken to go out there. The noises stopped sometime before sunrise, and I honestly thought I was going to die that night, either attacked by a bear or otherwise. My imagination was my worst enemy that night. At the first hint of sunshine, we were out of the tent. We didn't even bother to fold it. We just shoved it in the pack. I noticed that the fire was spread out like something kicked it. It was nothing but charred pieces of small logs and branches, clearly burned in the fire, and one pristine sizable log the size of my leg smack dab in the middle of the burnt pieces and ashes. It didn't have the slightest hint of being in or near the fire, and I'm positive we threw the remaining wood on the fire before turning in. Did it fall from a tree? I don't think so. The way the fire was spread out looks like it was thrown with force from the opposite direction. Besides, we were in a clearing and there was no trees directly overhead. We didn't investigate any further. We just got out of there as fast as we could manage. Since Route 209 was the closest landmark, we headed back in that direction and made arrangements to be picked up from a nearby gas station. I've been back to that general area countless times since then, and never heard or seen anything else out of the ordinary. What the hell did I see that night, and what was it doing around here? I gave it a lot of thought since then, and I suppose it's within the realm of possibility that something could make its way over here. The water gap is only a skip and a hop from Allegheny National Forest, and darn close to the Appalachian Trail as well. I suppose it's possible for something to travel from Ohio or elsewhere into the Allegheny National Forest through the Delaware Water Gap and then down to the Appalachian Trail. Once down to the Appalachian Trail, it could use that as a corridor to make it anywhere from Maine to Georgia. This is just a thought, and of course, and I could be completely off base, but I can't help but wonder how in the hell it's possible to have a possible sighting in northeast Pennsylvania. In hindsight, I wish I had the nerve and at the time to investigate further, look for tracks or something, anything. I didn't know anything of Sasquatch at the time, and it really wasn't my first thought. I tried to rationalize what I saw in all sorts of ways. Wow. That's a pretty incredible story. Are you muted? I think you're muted.
Yeah, I was.
What did you say? Your lips.
I said that sounds like an intense experience.
Yeah, absolutely. That's terrifying.
And Diane in chat was saying that that they live near that area, and they heard that there was a dog man up around that area.
Ooh, could it be a dog man? Maybe. We just don't know. I mean, he only saw something leaping off, but could a dog man barrel through the brush like that? Yeah, I think so. They're incredibly big and strong. Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty crazy. Whatever the case is, I don't blame these guys one bit. I don't know what I would have done in their place. I'm I would have stayed in the tent too.
Yeah, I probably would have too. I'm not risking that. No.
But the thing that I think is a really powerful takeaway is that, again, it was kind of harassing them to a degree, but it almost sounds like it's just more curious. Like, what are these guys doing? They're camping here. Nobody camps here, or whatever. And was just checking them out all night. If it was an aggressive being, this would have ended or gotten ugly right away.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I can't say it would have killed them or not, but if it was going to hurt them, that would have happened right away instead. But see, that's the psychological part of these beings, these Sasquatch or Bigfoot. They are just masters at psychological intimidation, just the subtleties. But people are so hypersensitive when they're in a state of fear that everything makes them jump. And it's like this thing didn't want them to sleep. I mean, it was very intentionally making them uncomfortable every chance it could. The other takeaway is that they went to this cleared spot with tall grass in it, but he found like 3 areas where something had bedded down in there. And that could be anything. Could just be a group of deer.
Oh, yeah.
But what if that was where they were laying down, you know? They meaning this one and probably the 2 or 3 other ones that he didn't see.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's a good point, too. They're not usually alone as far as the stories we've read.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like often they are. Yep. What a dog man, a man with a dog's head or a man with a dog body? It's more like if you can think of a werewolf, Cody, like from most people that have encountered dogmen, several have given the description of the werewolves from the movie Underworld, if you can imagine that with Kate Beckinsale. So how those werewolves looked is what people claim that they have seen. So kind of a man-like body, but still canid in a lot of ways. Mostly the head and the head, and apparently the backwards knees like a dog's leg, which really isn't a knee. That's really the ankle, but it's just super extended, basically foot. Like the backward knee on a dog is actually like our heel or ankle, you know. And then they have the carpals and the metacarpals on top of that. But yeah, I don't know. It's a fantastic story. But I mean, obviously this thing just wanted them the hell gone.
Yeah, the psychological warfare makes me think it's more of a Sasquatch, because it sounds very similar to other stories we've read when something's either curious or kind of, it's like, okay, time to leave, bye, just kind of edging them out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. I mean, it certainly seems like the intimidation that's been in 100 other stories. And it usually progresses, and that's why I say psychological, because it's not just these over the top things, it's small things. It starts out with little things hitting the tent when nothing's overhead to drop things onto the tent. But then it became a log later, and the log dispersed the fire pit. It just blew it out. And so it's pretty it's a measured response that seems to escalate over a period. It like goes up and up and up. So
it gets to the point where they're dragging your tent while you're in it, and I remember that one. I won't forget that story.
Yeah, the tent tacos are up. Woo! Yeah, the tent tacos. Yeah, it could be, but whatever it is, crazy stuff, folks. Crazy stuff. But we're down to about 2 minutes left of the show. So, can you believe it?
God, no, I never can. I mean, it's always a surprise to me, which is an unfortunate surprise.
It's unfortunate, but I tell you what, I mean, these shows are always amazing, and it's because of you guys being here. Thank you so much. Sheldon and I could sit here and play Paranormal Portal by ourselves, but it would feel pretty stupid after about 5 minutes. So you guys make it feel cool.
Calls.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of phone call, we got a phone call, but we got like a minute left. I'm just going to jump on here. Looks like it's Naysay. Is this you, Naysay?
Bark, bark, woof, woof. I am a bad dog man.
You got a minute to say something. So what's on your mind, brother?
Oh, you and your beautiful, miraculous personality and your wonderful son there, and thank you for the opportunity to say toodles. Have a good night.
You
Come
too,
back
brother.
Next week, y'all.
Absolutely, man. Great to hear
See
from
you
you.
then,
I'll give you a call in a couple of days, brother, okay?
Beautiful.
All right, talk to you then. See you now.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was our good friend Naysay, who's been guest on the show, and he's even co-hosted with me a time or two. So, but he's a great friend and has been part of the portal pretty much since the beginning. Yep. So anyway, guys, Sheldon, anything in closing quickly?
Absolutely. I'll share the link to the Discord in the chat if you want to join. A lot of discussions, a lot of links, a lot of things to see. Go ahead and check it out if you'd like, if you have a Discord.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us. I just want to say thank you all again. Keep watching for the other Paranormal Portal Pieces is our second channel. It's where we take segments from these 2-hour shows and create shorter videos. So look on YouTube for Paranormal Portal Pieces. And don't forget the podcast as well. But we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. Love you guys. We'll see you next time. Next Wednesday. All right. Good night.
Woo!